Dude with an attitude,
Mm-hmm.
don't you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to episode 849 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. I'm your host, Chris Johnston, and I messed up last week and said that last week's episode was 849. That is untrue.
Oh.
It was 848
Oh my gosh.
last
What
week.
operation is this?
Today, this
This one?
one's the real
This is
real
the good
849.
one.
This is 849 Mark II.
That's right. 848 is
Wait.
lost to time.
We're just going to keep doing it until we get it right.
Another lost episode.
So do we have to talk about all the stuff we talked about last week?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Oh, and joining me from amazing country of Canada, Mr. Greg Seward. Hello.
What happened to elevate us to the rank of amazing country? Usually,
I don't know.
Americans
You just
say nasty
are.
things about
Canada is excellent. I'm watching. Eugene Levy has a new
There it
show
is.
on Apple TV.
That's
Okay.
it.
I mean, Eugene
And
Levy is.
Is
yes.
this
Pretty
Schitt's
amazing.
Creek?
It is not Schitt's Creek. It is a travel show where
Is this
apparently-
SCTV?
No.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. No.
Okay.
It is called The Reluctant Traveler with
Mm.
Eugene Levy. And apparently he doesn't like to travel or do new things. Like his comfort zone is staying at home in Canada.
Mhm.
And so this show basically like makes him go places around the world and experience new things. And started watching it. It is quite fun. Yeah.
Cool.
And he's 72 years old.
He's not
72
young,
years young.
Oh, years young. That's
Mhm.
right. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But anyway,
and he was born
yeah.
with those eyebrows. So
Of course, I'm gonna cosplay as
you're really
Eugene
going
Levy
for the Eugene Levy up there.
on
still have a ways to go.
Halloween. So I really have to. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
combing them. I'm getting a real Chia Pet vibe going on here, like spreading the seeds with the special wand.
It's getting steamy in here.
Anyway, yeah, where was I? Oh yeah,
I was saying hi.
Oh yeah, whatever.
Hi.
Joining me from
Wow.
the great state of Washington, Mr. Phil Theobald.
Yeah, I guess I'd better tread lightly. I don't want to get on CJ's wrong side today. He's in one of these moods again.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you have
Not in the
another
mood.
you have another glass of wine there that you're drinking during the show? Is that what's
I
going
don't.
on?
I have water.
Oh,
My little
okay.
my little Pac-Man thermos.
Well, that is
Pac-Man.
an opaque thermos. We don't know what's in there.
Well, you're right. You don't. It could be vodka. It's not vodka though.
Hard to
It's
smell.
water. It's real
Okay.
water. I swear.
How's it
How
going?
you guys doing?
Fine.
Yeah,
Sure, why not?
Fine.
just fine.
I mean,
Fine.
how should I be doing?
I don't know.
You tell me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, Greg's good.
Yeah.
You got a hockey injury there.
Yeah, I got a dead body on the couch behind me. You can only see his torso and the top of his legs, but
Oh.
There you go.
don't tell anybody.
There you go. Okay. Yeah. Hmm.
Ugh.
He's
Alrighty. That's good.
He's fine.
He's fine.
He'll
He's
live
fine.
probably. Yeah. Why don't we talk about some video game stuff?
Okay.
Did anything happen this week?
Yeah, a few things.
Okay.
Just a couple of things.
Okay.
First of all, Sony had a state of play.
I have not watched it.
I did watch
Thursday.
it.
Yeah,
I watched most of it.
most of it. Why did you
stopped-
turn? When did you stop watching?
A couple minutes into the Suicide Squad,
Hmm.
because that's how they ended it with like 15 minutes of Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. No thanks.
Why, Phil? Why?
I mean, we know why.
Why? It's because you don't play multiplayer games. You
'Cause
don't play
it's- yeah,
online
'cause
multiplayer
it's-
games.
Because it's some dumb squad-based online garbage.
I believe that's
got-
what you said pre-show.
That's almost
That should be a new genre.
I may have rearranged the words, but yeah,
Yeah, new genre.
that's exactly what that is. I don't care.
You don't play online.
Too bad, because it would be Guardians of the Galaxy showed that you could do something fun with a team of players that didn't have to be a squad-based online shooter.
But
But that
exactly
didn't
what I said
sell.
to CJ
But that
before the
didn't
show,
sell,
Greg. Before you showed up.
That didn't sell though.
Yeah.
No, it didn't, but
Should have.
Yeah, I won't.
Yes.
I won't be touching that either.
No, I'll
No.
wait.
Not remotely
my
interested.
I'm the jury's still out for me. I mean, I probably won't, but you never
Yeah.
know. I did see some people sort of likening the game to or the gameplay footage they showed to Crackdown, which made me a little more interested, but
Yeah.
I think I'll be waiting for reviews. I am not a comic book person in general.
Well, no, you're a
But
human person.
if the gameplay is good,
Yeah.
like Spider-Man
Yeah.
from Insomniac was very good,
Yeah.
had really fun combat and everything. So
It's a little weird that you had to throw out the I don't play, like, I'm not a comic book guy, but it's like you played Spider-Man, you played
I did.
Guardians, right?
That's it.
You play any of the Batman games?
Barely. Not really.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. I'm sure there are other superhero games.
I'm somebody in the chat saying I look like I have something to say. No, I don't. I just my son fell asleep behind me and I can hear him snoring. I just think it's cute. So
Well, it's not picking up
Uh,
on the microphone. So
yeah.
Well, anyway,
Yeah.
there were other things shown at the State of Play. Anything catch your eye? Any
Let me
little
I
video
know-
games
sorry.
catch your eye from the
let me
State of
paint-
Play?
Yeah, no, we know where you're going. Before we get to
Street
the
Fighter?
ad, before we get to this episode's sponsored content that only
Uh-huh.
CJ gets paid for,
Oh,
let me paint a picture for you before the State of Play started, because the State of Play was the day after the PSVR 2 was released.
that's right.
Yes, and I know you two
PSVR 2
both
was
got
Wednesday,
it. You two
State
both
of Play
have your
Thursday.
PSVR 2.
Yes.
I have not gotten it at the moment, but I'll tell you what. I'm
what?
I have my computer open. I had the State of Play Twitch stream ready to go, counting down. Oh,
Yeah.
look, Greg's got his controls right there.
Oh.
He's living that VR world. You're like Johnny Mnemonic. You're always jacked in.
I got my headset right. Yeah.
Yeah, on the floor. It's a good spot for it.
Floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I won't be
Hopefully someone
stepping on-
trips right over that
I'll be
$550.
stepping on that later.
Yeah. So I had the State of Play open in one window. Right in the next window, I had the PlayStation site with the order page.
Oh, really? This is
PSVR
how
2
close we
because-
got to Phil ordering PSVR 2?
The second they showed
Astrobot.
Astrobot, I was gonna boom hit my order.
Yeah. Nope.
I ended up shaking my head and closing that window down after half
5
hour or
minutes.
whatever it was.
Oh.
Yep. Heartbreak. You know what I
Yeah.
did see on that State of Play though?
What's that, Phil? Tell us all about it. Let's
let
spend
me-
the next hour talking about it.
I
Street Fighter
saw
6.
you guys.
Cammy's the new darling of the internet.
You guys ever play any of those walking simulators?
All the time.
Because I saw a walking simulator
Uh-huh.
on there
Yeah.
that looked pretty interesting. Some have even said
Hmm.
that it was the highlight of the State of Play.
Oh, really? Tell us more.
I'm referring, of course, to that dinosaur dating sim.
What are we talking about?
Volcano High. Good.
No, I'm talking.
God.
I'm leading in so CJ can talk about his humanity.
Humanity.
There it is.
Yes, I can finally say Humanity coming to PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Steam this May. Very excited about it. We did a gameplay re-reveal trailer because Humanity was announced in 2019 at a State of Play.
Was it that long ago?
2019.
My goodness.
Pre-pandemic, and then got delayed, and now it's on for March 2023. So
nice.
Hey, that's really soon.
Yeah. And hey, I achievement unlocked or trophy unlocked, I guess if it's PlayStation.
Yeah, let's get it right.
I got to participate in a shadow drop because we released a demo the same day, same time.
Does it count as a shadow drop if it's just a demo?
It does. I
saw you bragging about this earlier, and I was like,
damn it, it counts. Please.
You're stretching that. You're stretching that definition of a shadow drop.
Please. Yeah, but I've never even done that much.
Well,
I always wanted to. In fact, when Rick and Morty VR came out, originally I wanted to shadow drop that at a State of Play too. That didn't happen because it wasn't ready. But I was so wanting to do that. But
releasing a game when it's not ready hasn't stopped a lot of companies in the past.
Yeah,
that's true.
I think you probably just should have pushed harder.
Maybe I should have. But hey, yeah. Demo of Humanity is out, and people can play it until March 6th when it goes away.
I did play it.
Good. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that later.
In what you've been playing.
I did play it.
Excellent. So during the State of Play, I wasn't really paying attention to the show at all because I had stuff to do.
Your game
during that.
Yeah,
I had to hit various buttons when Humanity started up. So, but I actually, there was some interesting stuff in the State of Play. I thought the Chia demo, that game looks cool. Got a release date for that. Chia? Kind of a Breath of the Wild looking game where you can
right.
Yeah, like
Breath of the Wild looking. Does
possess
it break when you touch it, or
no?
Okay,
possess different things. I think that's the one, right? And I'm really excited about Wayfinder, which is an MMO, but it looks really good. I may have played a little bit in a beta for that, and I'm very excited about that one. And then I thought of the PSVR 2 games that they showed, the Foglands, which was the first game that they showed in the presentation. It's a roguelike apparently, but I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah, I need to check all this stuff out. Just didn't have the time this week.
Didn't have the time.
And by that, I mean I was spending my time playing Dead Space and checking out some of the VR demos. But
I see. Yes.
I never made the time this week.
Yes. So Suicide Squad got immediately crapped on by the internet.
Good.
No huge surprise there,
Yeah.
especially on the games as a service stuff. It has a battle pass and putting the nail in the coffin. Something the internet definitely does not like. It requires an online connection, even when you're playing offline.
Oh, right.
So that is another thing the internet does not like. And there you go. Suicide Squad.
Feels like it's not difficult to know that something the internet doesn't like.
The internet doesn't like a lot of things.
Yeah, sometimes the internet's right. Most times it's wrong. But sometimes it's right. Anytime it agrees with me, it's right, is what I'm getting at.
That is true.
I'm the only person in the world that thinks that way.
All right, so Nintendo has confirmed they won't be at E3 2023. That means
they confirmed that previously.
All three. There was a rumor that all three were not going to be partaking in the show, and Nintendo has confirmed that. So no Nintendo at E3.
Okay.
Shinji Mikami leaving Tango Gameworks.
I thought he worked at Capcom.
No. He hasn't worked at Capcom in many a year.
It's been a while.
It's been a little while.
Yeah.
He did Evil Within 1, Evil Within 2.
Anytime I hear his name, I just think Capcom. I know he has Capcom.
Ghostwire Tokyo and Hi-Fi Rush.
So Capcom.
No. Still
no.
no.
Where do you go from Hi-Fi Rush? He probably figured
go out on top.
Where else can I go?
Well, that's more John Johannes's game.
I don't care.
Right? Yeah.
It doesn't fit my narrative.
I guess not.
I'm rewriting history.
Are you going to solve a mystery too?
Oh man, I wish.
Woo.
All right. Star Fox has turned 30 years old. It's been 30 years since Star Fox came out. Star Fox.
Man, I wish it had
Good
turned
luck.
30 frames old.
Oh, man. Yikes.
My goodness.
Aren't there some mods that you can do to have it run
Oh,
at
I
a
think
constant
so.
frame
Yeah.
rate, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard. I haven't played it that way.
Was there more to that? Was there like some kind of official announcement, or is this just Star Fox turned 30 years old?
No, it turned 30 years old. That's
Nintendo's
it.
not doing anything with that
No, of course not.
anniversary. Okay.
We already got Star Fox 2. Is that
Yeah, that's fair.
all we need, right? Yeah.
I mean, even
So
that was a few
apparently-
years ago.
There's on Dylan Cuthbert's Twitter feed and on the character designer's Twitter feed, there were some Star Fox images. Dylan Cuthbert had a Star Fox cake
Oh,
looking pretty good. And there's a nice picture of Fox McCloud on Takaya Imamura's Twitter feed. So 30 years.
What
gotta
did
see what
Shinji
this cake
Mikami have
looks
to
like.
say?
What?
Oh,
What
that
does
does look-
cake
oh,
look
that's-
like? It's like
It's a very nice
fruit
looking cake.
Yeah, it's got all little slices of fruit on top.
I
Good.
was worried. My concern was that it would just be a bunch of fondant.
Oh,
Ugh.
right.
You know,
It's the
Yes.
worst thing to happen to cake ever.
cake
It
ruining
is.
substance.
It
does.
is.
It ruins cake.
We made a
I
delicious
agree.
cake. Now we're going to decorate it with a bunch of clay. Just a bunch of
Pretty much.
multicolored clay.
Yeah,
But no, this
But
is
no,
like a
it's-
real cake that you would
Yeah.
actually want to eat.
it's true. Looks tasty.
And that's a really
Hmm.
tasty looking cake. My goodness. A kiwi
Settle
and
down. Settle down.
pineapple. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Oh golly.
golly, Miss Molly. All right, so I thought this last thing, and we're reaching for topics on the news section.
You don't
We can only
say.
talk about
It's not-
humanity for so long, folks.
I know. Please add it to your wish list on Steam and PlayStation, coming out May 2023. So they announced UFO robot Grendizer, The Feast of the Wolves, is coming out in the West. And the reason why I think this is interesting is, does anybody in the US really have like a whole lot of nostalgia for Grendizer?
What's
And
Grendizer?
if Grendizer
I don't
can
think
come
anyone
out,
in the West knows what Grendizer is.
I know if Grendizer can come out, then where are our Common Rider releases in the West? And
There we go.
among many other, like, where's that Gamera PS1 re-release that
Wasn't there a
everybody
Common
loved
Rider
back
game
in
on the
day?
Sega CD?
Yes,
There was Masked Rider,
See?
Yes,
Sega ahead
Based
of the curve
on
once
the-
again.
based on the failed attempt to bring Kamen Rider over here, Power Ranger style.
yes, failed attempt.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, it looks pretty cool. The giant robot sort of
It does.
brawling game. I like it. I'm
looks neat.
into it. It looks very neat.
I might get this.
Yes.
It seems like the kind of thing that's up my alley.
I was expecting so. Do you know much about Grendizer, or did you watch Grendizer?
I know and no.
No and no.
No.
I had a
I'm-
Grendizer toy as a child, and I have no idea why.
Oh, really?
I had like a little figure.
Was it like a Shogun Warrior type thing, or
No, I don't
Oh.
even know. It was like a die-cast metal toy.
Oh,
I have no idea. It was like around the time Voltron came out. I guess
okay.
Might do I.
got some.
Well, yeah,
kind
I mean,
of-
Probably some importers just grabbing whatever they could when they're,
Yeah.
you know.
probably.
Toy companies were trying to get on the robot hype train, the Japanese robot hype train.
Yeah.
So
Well, I don't have that toy anymore, but I
No.
remember it. That's all
Okay.
that matters, right? All right, so I guess we can talk about what you've been playing now, Phil.
yeah.
What have you been playing?
Well, I was told to talk about humanity.
Yes.
Not demanded. This is freely my choice. I'm not under duress. But I played and thoroughly enjoyed humanity. Thank you.
Doesn't feel sincere at all.
Bye.
It doesn't, does it?
No,
You're supposed to act natural, Phil. Come on.
Hey, let me tell you about this great new game I played.
Ooh.
No, I did download the Humanity demo. I downloaded the Steam version
Aha.
and played through it.
Uh-huh.
And against all natural instincts, knowing that you worked on this game,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Now, Humanity. I hear Humanity is an action puzzle game where you play a Shiba Inu commanding
Did you hear this on some press release that you wrote or something? I don't know exactly what.
I did.
Did you write a press release for this?
I wrote a draft, like an early draft of the press release.
Okay.
It got edited, but yes.
Okay.
You play a Shiba Inu who commands an ever forward marching horde of humans to goals of light. And it is sort of a traffic flow puzzle game. A little bit Lemmings, a little bit Choo Choo Rocket.
Yeah. It's definitely got those vibes
of Intelligent Cube kind of thing. And it's from designer Yugo Nakamura. And he runs a design company called THA. And this is his brainchild. And Enhance is helping him publish it as a video game. This is their first video game. THA's first game. So yeah. So
yeah, it's good.
Interesting.
It's clever. I like the setup. I like the puzzles.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of it.
The vibe.
It's got that kind of enhanced vibe to it. And yeah, it's good. I mean, the demo was what, like 10 levels?
10 levels, yes. And then we did a beta of the stage creator and upload features, which I am shocked at the quality that we're getting.
Really?
I thought that people would, because we were really worried about like moderating those levels. Like we were sure this is a user generated content thing. You know what people are going to submit first, right?
Wieners.
Yep.
This level looks like a wiener.
So I was very surprised and pleased that that hasn't been the case. So.
You guys haven't seen my levels that I submitted yet?
Apparently not.
No. Okay.
But no, there have been some really interesting takes on the puzzle mechanics in that. Somebody made like a PC simulator thing. It's like an autoplay level where you just watch this thing go basically, but you like put the graphics card in the PC tower and all this stuff. Like
really
cool. Somebody made like a castle level where you're getting invaded by the rival group, the others, and you have to get the humans out of the castle and to the goal. So like there have been some really interesting. Somebody made an Among Us statue in there. So very, very interesting stuff. I'm super pleased with so far, like how things have gone with that.
Good.
So.
I have not messed around with the user generated stuff yet, so clearly I need to.
And you don't need to create stuff. You can just play levels that other people have made. And we actually worked pretty hard in curating lists of good levels. So you can find the good content on top, and then there's a new arrivals list that has
the dregs.
The dregs, exactly. No, there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Let me ask you this.
Do it.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
Since you seem to know so much about this game.
I do. I know.
Is the user generated stuff shared between the versions?
It is. Yeah.
Okay, good.
So Steam and PlayStation, no matter where you create and upload, yes, it's all shared.
Groovy. Okay.
Yep.
Cool. No, I really liked it. I'm proud to say that I got through the 10 demo levels pretty easily up to the last one. The last one was a little tricky.
That one is tricky.
That one took a few tries for me to kind of figure out. It's one of those ones where it doesn't seem like it would be tricky. Because I mean, did we really talk about what the game is? I mean,
I started it.
I mean, we
started the spiel.
We got sort of the elevator pitch there.
So what it is, you're controlling this little ghostly dog, and there are lines of just an endless stream of people marching through these levels, and you have to go around as the dog and put down little markers to redirect people or to issue them commands. So you can, if you put a little arrow facing right in their path, once the line of people hit that arrow, they'll turn right and keep marching in that direction. Or you can put down a little button that makes them jump. So if you need them to jump over an obstacle or something.
Yeah.
So, and then as you go through the levels, they add different commands and kind of mix up things. And the final level of the demo, the gimmick of that one is that you have to place down all the arrow markers before sort of turning on the level and making the people start marching out. So you really have to kind of sit there and go through like, okay, this is the path that people are going to make. You know, you can't adjust it on the fly like you could in the previous stages. So it's a little tricky. And like I said, it took me a few tries just to kind of, you know, put down some stuff, start up the level, see how the people affect the environment as they're moving through and stuff. But I eventually got it.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm
Good
very
to
much
hear.
looking forward.
Excellent. Well, it
to,
comes out in May.
In
Don't have to
May.
wait long.
In May. Is there a day in May
Not yet.
for humanity?
Nope, just May.
Okay.
Yeah.
So please look forward to May.
Mm.
What else was I playing that no one on the show worked on? It is a good game though.
Thank you.
You know what I downloaded for the Nintendo Switch was the new Valis collection came out.
Oh, the second one.
Ah,
Yes,
Boy.
Valis.
That collection of games is not. It doesn't scream by me now.
It does not, but you know, as we talked about when the first Valis collection came out, I am I'm a sucker for the Valis series, even though it's not good, really. I have a lot of nostalgia for those.
I would say there are some decent Valis games. I
Yeah, but
wouldn't
they don't
say
really
they're-
go above
They're not all
decent.
bad.
No, they're not bad.
Yeah, like I would even say that Valis. I've only played Valis 3 on the Genesis. Well, never mind. I've played all of them, but I played the TurboGrafx version of Valis 1 recently. Now I know that was using like the Valis 3 engine because it's actually the first Valis is quite an old game.
Right.
Well, they're all quite old this way, but it was an old game when it came out on the Turbo.
Right.
So it was using the Valis 3 engine. They're like middling to good action platformer games, and they had amazing cutscenes for the time. Like that was
Exactly.
the claim to fame for that series.
Yes.
And yeah, like anyway, sorry. The second collection that they've released, I look at the list of games, it's like, ooh.
Yeah. Second collection has Valis 4, which was this was
Super
the PC
Nintendo.
Engine version. There was also a Super Nintendo version.
Yeah.
But the one that's on here is the PC Engine one. It has the original Valis for it's the Genesis version of that.
Terrible.
Yes.
Like it's and that clouded my view of what Valis 1 was.
Although
And
I'll
Valis
tell you
1's
what,
way
Greg.
better than the Genesis game.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
If you want that Genesis version of the original Valis to seem like one of the best games ever made,
Play Sid of Valis.
well, you can try the MSX version of the
No.
original Valis, which is on this collection.
Ooh.
Wow.
But wasn't that the original game, or was it the X68000? It came out on the game originally came out on like the Japanese computers.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I've played that because I played it for an episode of Generation 16.
It's bad.
It's bad, but it's at least with that game they have an excuse that it's on ancient hardware.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like
But
what
it's
you
bad.
could do. Like for the Genesis version of Valis 1, there's no reason for it to suck as much as it does.
True.
It's just a really poor port.
But I'm just saying, is I played the Genesis one just a little bit ago
Yeah.
and was like, well, this isn't very good. And then I loaded up the MSX one and I was like, oh my, I got to get back to that Genesis game quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then yes, it also has Sid of Valis,
Which is
or
okay.
Valis SD,
Yeah.
to use the original Mega Drive name.
I just thought it was interesting that they brought that here as Sid of Valis.
I know, right?
I mean, obviously they wanted to do something with the SD, but it's
Right.
just, I mean, creative, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
They may not have known
What
the
SD
English
was.
The English side may not have known what that was.
I,
Right?
you know,
Could be.
a strong possibility.
Super deformed.
Yes.
What are you going to do with that?
It's basically it's a remake of the first Valis game, but in sort of like a cutesy chibi style.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's fine as you know, these sorts of things go.
Yeah.
But and yeah, it's full of some mediocre at best games.
Is the Genesis Valis 3 on that?
No,
I thought it was.
it is not.
Oh, wow.
It is just those 4 games.
Whew.
Yeah, the 2 different versions of the first one, Sid and Valis 4. So, and it's also like $40. It's like stupid expensive for what it is. But I still bought it because I'm a sucker for the old Valis. My nostalgia for this series far outweighs its quality, to my detriment.
Yeah.
But you know, someone had to buy this.
Looking forward to the Valis Collection 3, where it'll just be all the porn games.
Yeah. And when they finally got they just sold it to someone who decided to start making hentai visual novels.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, there's enough of those on the eShop anyway, so
That's true.
just add one more to the pile. What else did I play? Oh, a couple people had to mention this to me this week on the old Twitters. Is there's a new Minecraft DLC that came out recently, and it is a mashup crossover with Mega Man X. So,
Because that
of
was
course
the
I had to
played
play
it?
that.
So you
What's
played
that?
it?
Oh, I did play it. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course I did. So I've played a few of these Minecraft mashup levels, and usually it's just kind of like, you know, oh, it's a Jurassic Park level, and you go there and it's basically just someone has made a recreation of Jurassic Park in Minecraft. So you can just kind of run around and
There's like a big Super Mario Brothers one in the Switch version of
yes. Yeah, and
Minecraft.
it's just like, oh, well, I'm in the Mushroom Kingdom, but it's all blocky.
Yep.
I talked a while ago because they came out with a Pac-Man one where they actually had kind of a unique gameplay. Like you went in there and it was actually like a functioning Pac-Man maze where you had to dodge ghosts and things like that, which I thought was very cute. But this one, my goodness, this one's bonkers. So you start it up and you're just in an empty chamber, just like a black void with a little computer terminal in front of you. You click on it and it brings up a little menu where they ask you what system you're playing it on. Like, are you playing this on PC or console or mobile? And then it asks, like, you know, was this like a newer device or an older device? So I guess the game sort of calibrates itself based on your, you know, the inputted specs.
Okay.
Huh.
I was playing it on the Xbox, and I told it as much. And then once you do that, it brings you to another little blank void where you are standing in front of a giant video game system. It's a fake Super Nintendo. You know, it's not really a Super Nintendo, but it's clearly made to kind of look like one. There's a giant TV in the background, and you see the little Mega Man's Mega Buster sticking out of the corner of your screen where your pickaxe would normally be. And there's a little Mega Man X cartridge hovering over the system, and it tells you to shoot it, so you do. And the cartridge drops in, and then the TV turns on, and it brings up the old Capcom logo with the little, you know, Capcom musical sting.
Yep.
And then the screen blanks out, and then it just loads up like the title screen of Mega Man X, the old Super Nintendo game, but just kind of Minecraft looking, a little blockier. And then you start the game, and you are in the first stage of Mega Man X, which is that highway level. but you are in a 3D version of it.
Huh.
And it's just a highway stage. You're just playing through it in first person now. And
Okay.
all the familiar enemies are coming at you. You're pew pew pewing them. You get to the part where there's like the giant bee that starts shooting at you. You're dodging it. You're shooting it. It falls down, collapses the highway. You can do the little wall jump up the highway. You eventually get to the boss. You have to fight the boss. And it's
Huh.
and when you beat it, you go to your base. And it's just a little miniature version of Mega Man X, but in first
In
person.
Minecraft.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it's trimmed down. There's only 4 bosses instead of the 8. But yeah, it's
wow. Huh.
it's kind of crazy. It's kind of neat. So I haven't finished it. I just played through the highway stage and I played through one of the boss levels. But yeah, it's cute.
That's
I
kind
think
of
it's
cool.
like $7 or $8
Hmm.
to get it. So if anyone is interested, it's a little janky. Like it doesn't, like, I had it freeze up on me one time and I had to exit out. So I don't know if there's little bug fixes they might be doing to it or something, but yeah, it was interesting. So
Okay.
I played that. And the final thing I played this week was I picked up for the Switch the new Kirby game. Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, which is a update remake of that was the Wii game, right?
That's right.
Yes. And it's a Kirby game. It's a good Kirby game. I like Kirby games. This one's fun. It looks very pretty.
It does. I played the demo and I really liked how it looked.
Yeah,
I like the sort of thick outlines
Right?
around all the characters. I think it looks very eye-catching.
yeah. It's a
nice.
really pretty game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a quality Kirby platformer. I mean we've played
beat
those
that.
before.
Yeah.
It's good. It's quite good. I haven't played through as much of the story mode as I would have expected because I got sucked into the sort of mini game mode that they have. There's like a dozen or so different little mini games that you can play, and as you play those, you unlock like power-ups and little masks that Kirby can wear and stuff like that. So I've been getting a little too distracted with the Kirby mini games, but
Aren't most of those, if not all, motion control games?
you can play them motion control, but you don't have to.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, like one of them, and then they're most, I don't know the exact ratio, but a lot of them are ones that you've seen before.
Sure.
Like there's the one where you kind of do like where you're punching the earth to try and crack it in half. I guess it's not technically Earth, it's whatever planet Kirby's on. Or there's like the samurai one where it's just kind of a reaction, like hit the button faster than your opponent to slice them down.
Okay.
That sort of thing. Which I thought this was cute. Because you know what I'm talking about with that samurai
I absolutely do.
game, right? Yeah. So when you play that, and I forget, maybe you have to like beat all 3 difficulty levels, but you unlock a like a battle royale version of that you can play once per day, where you select it, and it brings up like 99 other Kirby players. I don't know if they're bots. I don't know if they're whatever, but it brings up 100 people can all play at once, and then like gives you the little exclamation points on the screen to draw, and you hit the button, and then there's a little animation where you defeat X number of people that you were able to draw faster than.
That's fun.
Which is kind of a cute little bonus.
That is.
And yeah, it's set up so you can only play it once a day, but yeah, it's a neat little thing. I'm not very good at it. I have not bested most of my foes, but
I see.
But yeah, it's good stuff. And there's a bunch of, I mean, like I haven't had a chance to play Dead Space this week. I haven't had a chance to play Metroid Prime. that new Like a Dragon game came out,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one
Which
looks really cool.
which I picked up but haven't had a chance to try yet.
Yeah.
So there's too much, and I didn't even get the VR2.
Freaking February, like
I know, right?
No.
It's insane. But that's what I've been playing. So talk about your VR stuff.
Yeah, let's talk PSVR 2 because I got mine and Greg, you got yours as
I
well.
got mine.
I did not play PSVR 1 back when it came out. I only
did.
recently played
Yeah.
it, and I like the headset this time around. It's
Yeah.
pretty comfortable to wear, even
It's
with
very-
glasses.
Yeah, you're right. And for me, because we talked about this a little bit, and I said that it didn't feel very glasses friendly, but I think that was more about using any VR headset with progressive lenses, which
Oh,
are
that's-
relatively new
yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
That was my problem. But yeah, it is very glasses friendly. In fact, it handles glasses better, I think, than PSVR 1. And PSVR 1 did a great job with glasses wearers. So because there's the only thing with the PSVR 1 when you had glasses on is that there was a fair amount of light leak happening because of it. And I find that there really isn't. With
There's
the VR2.
none this time around. The
So-
little rubber shield that they have that goes around your eyes really does a great job in keeping the light out. There's really no light leak this time.
Oh.
And big fan of how the headphones are integrated into the headset as well.
Yeah.
Because before with the one, you had the cable hanging down, and then you had sort of a little control panel where you plug headphones in. So you ended up having 3 or 4 different wires hanging off your face.
Mhm.
And which was fine. I mean, it worked fine, right? But these are clipped right into the back of the headset. And actually, there's even 2 little rubber spots that you can push the earbuds in when they're not being used, so they're never actually dangling off the mask, which is nice.
Yeah, that
well.
is nice. They did revise that in the second the revised version of PSVR 1. They did
Yeah.
put that in there. So that isn't
See, I don't have any
completely new,
experience
but
with that one.
I do
But-
like it.
One thing that I do miss, and maybe I just haven't paid close enough attention, is I miss having a physical volume control at arm's length. You know what I mean?
I also miss that.
This doesn't have that, huh?
It does not. I couldn't
Oh.
even find the volume control in the settings. Like I
That's the
don't know
thing.
where you can adjust that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, that to me, as far as the like physical design of the thing, that, and the only other thing that I would say, not that I don't like, but Phil, you'll understand this. I mean, as far as the way it fits on your head, it's the exact same system as the last one. Like,
Okay.
It's the Halo
the
strap.
Halo is exactly the same. It
Right.
feels like the old one. The only thing is that you know how the padding for your forehead used to be like I don't know what you call it, like Alcantara or something like that. It was sort of that soft.
Right.
There's a sort of like a soft fabric feel to it.
Yeah.
This is just rubber.
Oh.
Which for people like you and I who have fairly high foreheads, if they're okay, me more than you, but you still have
I don't know
pretty
what
high
you're talking
forehead.
about.
You might have an issue with sweating.
I have an
that's a
issue
bummer.
with sweating. And I don't.
Yeah,
have,
and you have some hair to capture it.
I
So
have hair in there.
but I mean that's really it. Otherwise, it's super comfortable. Like it's
Okay.
it's more comfortable than a Quest 2 or whatever that's called now.
Right.
Meta
say.
Quest
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
I thought the setup was easy. One cable in the front of the PS5, which is real nice to not have to deal with multiple breakout things and the camera and all that junk. You put it in there, it updated the headset, and then off you go. And they have you test your focal length. So like the space between your eyes, you adjust a little dial on the side. And then they do the eye tracking test with you,
Which is so
Yeah.
cool.
which is very cool. Yeah, you look at the points of light and they light up as you look around. And that was pretty cool too. And then they kind of let you free. This time there was no demo disc. But
Yeah.
they kind of encourage you to go to the store for PSVR 2 demos, of which I think there are like 5 or 6 at this
Mhm.
point.
Mm.
Maybe more than that. But out of 40 games, out of 40 games released, there's like demos of 6 of them. So
Oh.
little different, but
Considering that the state of play, they didn't really announce. Well, they didn't announce Astrobot or anything like that.
no.
I really hope they start adding some games to Plus.
Yeah.
I do too, yeah. But I also want to see what Sony has next first party for PSVR 2.
Right.
I mean, I like the experience using it. So I'm playing primarily sitting. And the way that I have it set up is actually like when setting the boundary for it, I found it's better to do or to set up a room scale boundary, but still sit and play, because the seated boundary is actually pretty close to you. So
Very
if you're doing
close.
anything with like reaching out, you're definitely going to
Yep.
hit the boundary.
Sorry, just to back up too, setup wise, that was something that's completely different, obviously,
Hmm.
than anyone who just has experience with PlayStation VR 1, is that it scans the room.
Scans the room.
Which is, I mean, if you've used an Oculus, you've probably gone through that anyway. But so it's pretty neat, because the other thing that this has that the VR 1 didn't have is a pass-through camera. So it's just a little button on the bottom. No matter what you're doing, it'll just suspend your game, like same as pressing the PlayStation button. Basically, it'll suspend your game, and then you're immediately looking at the view from the front camera. So you can move around the room if you have to, or if someone's talking to you or something like that. But yeah, it does a whole room scan. But then anytime you play something, it asks you, are you going to play sitting? Are you going to play standing? And you can just set it automatically. If you don't want to take the time to draw out a play space or something like that, it'll just set it automatically. But CJ's right. I find the sitting play space is so narrow.
It's pretty narrow.
Yeah, it's less than an arm's length, which is weird to me. But yeah.
You can also there are a couple options. There's a YouTube video that I really like that says like change these options first in PSVR 2, that talks about things like there actually is like an audio pass through as well that isn't explained, but you can turn on in the settings, and it's sort of hidden, where if you're wearing the headphones, which I would recommend people do, it does like it uses the microphone on the PlayStation VR 2 to let some of the sound, the ambient sound around you in, so you can still hear people if they're talking to you. You can hear,
I have to set that,
which is kind of nice. Apparently you can set 120 hertz refresh, which I don't know why you would necessarily want to do that. You can set it for like when you're playing games in theater mode. So if you're playing non-VR games in
I don't know why you would ever do that, but
I don't know why you would either. But I guess if you have a smaller TV, or you don't have a 4K television, it might be worth doing. But yeah, I set up like a room scale boundary and then sit, and that is pretty comfortable. So I played obviously Res Infinite and Tetris Effect Connected. I played a lot of those.
So before you go any further,
yeah,
because I played those too, I don't have a whole lot to say about them other than to say that they're the same as they were, which they were great games anyway.
Sure.
But it's nice to play them in VR in a higher resolution now. Like
that is absolutely true.
Res looked decent on PSVR, but it looks so pretty on PSVR 2.
And same with Tetris, really. Like when you go from PSVR 1 to PSVR 2, it's sort of night and day. And actually, I really like the screen quality in PSVR 2 is really good. Like I played the I don't even remember what it's called, like Sunset Dawn or something is one of the stages, and it's raining and you have forest sounds all over, and then at a certain point in the stage, like the sun comes up, and the brightness of the display in PSVR 2 is such that it feels like real sunlight. Like it's really bright. I don't know if you experienced that at all.
I didn't play that level.
But Res Infinite also has eye tracking, which I recommend you try. Eye tracking for aiming.
I didn't turn that on.
It's one of the options. It's not on
still
by
using my
default.
head. Okay.
But you look at enemies and they immediately get targeted, and you press the button to fire on them. It's pretty interesting to check out.
That's
I've
why I
never
was-
been better at res as I am in VR. But then also the eye tracking thing like pumps that up to another level where it's like, oh man.
So that was the reason I was stopping you. Were there more modes added in Tetris Effect as well?
So Tetris Effect got an update that has some additional modes, including like a solo version of Classic Score Attack, which is sort of like NES Tetris rules,
Okay.
as well as like a couple of other modes that are very similar, where it's like solo, endless versions of some of the modes that were already in Tetris Effect
Okay.
that weren't
Alright.
in there prior, but nothing that's like exclusive for VR2.
Okay.
And those got added to all of
Everything.
the versions. Yeah.
Excuse me. Okay.
But
cool.
and then after Res and Tetris, I played a bunch of Call of the Mountain
That is really nice.
because I got the bundle that had
Yeah.
Call of the Mountain in it, and it is really nice. I really like it. I didn't really know that it was going to be like a Horizon skinned version of The Climb, which if you've heard of The Climb on MetaQuest, it's mountain climbing.
I
A
imagine
mountain
the
climbing
climb
game
is kind of like Call of the Mountain without the Horizon skin.
without the Horizon skin, exactly. But
There you
also
go.
probably without the other mechanics in it, because
Right.
there's like a grappling hook sort of thing, and yeah. But it's a lot of climbing a mountain.
It's a lot
There's-
of climbing.
There's some fighting enemies, and you have a sort of combat arena when those encounters happen, where the control changes just a little, and you can more easily like quickly strafe or dodge. But you're mainly like pulling out your bow and attacking. That's that part of the game, and those are in enclosed areas.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of combat happening while you're climbing. You're just
I-
figuring out the climbing puzzles.
I really liked what I played of it. I don't know how much it costs for the full version, but
It's full priced.
Yeah, so I'll probably wait until it's on. Whenever that goes on sale,
you'll
I'll
might get
definitely
it.
grab it because I do want to play through it. But yeah,
Yeah. It is. I'm really enjoying it, and I really like so it uses eye tracking for the menus, which is nice. It's impressive, and then it has a number of comfort features where it has some presets, and then also you can go in and customize what you want.
Mhm.
So you can have the vignette mode that comes up whenever you move. Yeah, you can adjust that to what you're comfortable with. You can adjust your movement speed. You can adjust how far, like if there's any sort of help with the distance that you're reaching to grab the next area while you're climbing. That's really nice. So there are a lot of different features that make the game a more comfortable experience to play, which I really
yeah.
truly appreciate. I am using my little relief band thing, which I'll link in the show notes. It's a little wristband, not like C-bands. This one is like an electrical device that you charge up and put on your wrist, and it sends electric pulses into your wrist at intervals, and basically wipes away my motion sickness problem in VR, which is very nice. It's nice to, after an hour of playing Call of the Mountain, take off the headset and not feel nauseous. It's very nice, let me tell you. But yeah, so I'm having fun with Call of the Mountain. I also played a bunch of Moss. So Moss Book 1 and 2 are our launch games for this as well. Moss, one of my favorite games on the MetaQuest, which is where I played the first one. I started replaying the first game, and it just looks beautiful.
I wish I'd waited for
It looks
this to come out
beautiful.
before I got Moss 2.
Yeah, it looks super,
Bought it
super
so recently.
nice. Yeah. And I thought, like, do I really want to play through Moss 1 before it's going to Book 2? I'm like,
Absolutely you do.
Yeah, I
It's not
do.
that long of a game.
No, it's not that long. Apparently, Moss Book 2 is like double the length of the first
Oh
game.
wow, really?
Which
It's
I
a
didn't.
lot bigger.
I
There's
didn't know.
way more going on in Moss Book 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that, but it looks beautiful.
Nice.
Beautiful. I played some Kayak VR.
I wish this had a. This doesn't have a demo, does it?
No demo,
wish it did.
unfortunately. Yeah, it looks great. It looks pretty real. I don't know about you, Greg, but with this more than the Quest 2, I got a real sense of presence in the world where occasionally I'll actually be tricked that something is not real. Like in Horizon, I'll give you an example. Horizon, you go to this sort of hub area where you can craft arrows, or you can craft the pickaxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to do that, and I was putting things down, and I almost like rested. I wanted to rest my hands on the table, and they just went right through it. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, what did I just do? Like, I thought there was a table there. There is no table.
Right.
But Kayak is very similar to that, where it has a really great sense of presence in the world. Where I was talking about in Tetris Effect, like the quality of the screens this time around are such that sunlight feels like sunlight. Like Kayak VR is very similar, where it's like light hitting off the water. Like it feels like you're in a very sunny environment in a way that I've never seen that happen on the Quest or in PSVR 1. Like those didn't feel the same to me. So
I think that has a lot to do with the resolution.
It definitely does.
With everything on the PS, as much as I love PSVR 1, you were looking through a screen door on everything. So you still always felt like you were looking at a screen.
And you still, in some ways, feel like you're looking at a screen this time, but it's just that much closer to looking real. Like Kayak VR really, really looks nice for sure. So I spent a little bit of time. They drop you in a pool for the tutorial. And then you can play like I only did the free roam of the other areas where I just paddled around, and they have various wildlife that'll like swim up, and you can actually like dip your head in the water and like even be half in, half out of the water and like
Just
look at the
get your wife to hold a basin of water next to your head so you can
exactly like the sound effect of water.
Love it.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I also played The Last Clockwinder. So this is a game that won a bunch of awards last year when it came out. But it's basically a puzzle game where you act out motions. You're basically like overseeing this sort of manufacturing operation, and you place these robotic creatures, and they mimic the movement that you just did. So you can record a movement to like in the first bit of the game, you pick a fruit and you want to drop it in a particular bucket. And then all of a sudden they add more places for you to do this. So you basically record yourself plucking the fruit and handing it over here to the side. And then after you're done placing that robot, you position yourself where the next robot in the sort of line would be. You take the fruit from the other robot and place it in the bucket. And basically the puzzles are just a lot of that, like coming up with the different motions you have to do to achieve the end goal. It's pretty interesting.
Sounds cool.
And it looks beautiful. Then I also played a little bit of Resident Evil Village in VR.
Oof. I played a tiny bit of this, but I never got out of the tutorials because I started it really late and I didn't have the time to get very far before I had to go to bed.
Yeah, the tutorials feel great. Like the guns feel really good in this game.
Yeah, and I really liked, which I think is a bit of a theme with all the software, which I'll get into a little bit more on when I talk about GT7. But like when you get to the part where you're trying out the different weapons, like they really went for like it's a whole two-hand experience.
Yeah,
where it's like, and they teach you to hit a button, whatever hand you're holding the gun in, you hit a button to eject the cartridge if it's a gun that has that, and then you actually grab another one off your belt and slap it in, and then like with the handgun you actually cock it, or with the sniper rifle you actually pull back on the I don't know what that is, but and like twist it out and then put it back in to load it, and the shotgun it's really neat, but also it was really neat. But I love the fact that you can immediately go to a point where all that's done automatically if you want it to.
Which is what I set it to.
Which, yeah,
I immediately said it too. I don't want to do any of
as a
that.
demo, but not really practical in gameplay. I don't think.
No, I wouldn't remember how to do any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I wanted that all done for me. Thank you. I'm still playing a video game.
Yeah.
But you know how I was talking about sense of presence and where things feel real. I only played a little bit of Resident Evil, but I think it again does a very, very good job of putting you in that space. And part of it is there's no light leak, so you don't have to worry about being taken out of the experience that way. But also, I think it's an OLED screen where the dark parts of the screen, the black of the screen, is pure black. It's not like you're looking at a gray
that's a good point.
lit screen, so it feels dark. Anytime in PSVR 2 where the screen goes black, it is dark. Unlike anything I've experienced in VR yet. So the intro for Resident Evil where you're hiding behind the table and you see somebody walking up to you, where you are, it feels real.
Yeah.
It really kind of freaked me out. But
really selling Phil on the whole thing.
No thanks.
I know.
No, thank you.
I know. But yeah, I'm really enjoying PSVR 2. Thanks in large part to the motion sickness band that I'm using. I can play longer sessions, which has been nice. So I'm loving it so far.
And Village, Resident Evil Village, which is the one you're playing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the one with the giant lady.
It's one with the giant lady.
Yeah, I don't want to see that in VR. I don't want. What is she, like 8-10 feet tall or something?
Yeah.
Isn't everyone around you like 8 to 10 feet tall? Doesn't it seem like that?
Huh?
Doesn't it seem like everyone around you is 8 to 10 feet tall in real life?
No,
Or?
I see. I get it.
It's a short joke.
I got it. Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Fun fact: Phil's like maybe a quarter of an inch shorter than me.
Yeah,
it's a big quarter of an inch. Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah.
So don't.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. And again, I've talked about my weirdness with getting too sucked into the VR world. Like, encountering people in a VR game, like walking up to someone it genuinely unnerves me. Like, you mentioned the Rick and Morty game a while ago, and I played that, and at one point you start playing it, and like Rick shows up, and he comes up to you, and he's like the 6 foot tall cartoon character, standing next to like standing 2 feet away from me, talking to me, and it's weird. It's weird and it's unnerving because to my stupid monkey brain, it feels real. Like there's a 6 foot tall cartoon man.
It's interesting that you say that because before PSVR 2, I really didn't get that sort of same feeling. It didn't.
Yeah.
But playing Horizon Call of the Mountain and RE Village in VR, I definitely got that. Where I'm making eye contact with these characters and it feels more real than before. And that never got me in using the Quest 2 or anything like that. I never really felt that way about it.
Yeah, like I said, it does to me. It gets to me even with those relatively primitive setups. So like PSVR 2, suddenly there's a 10-foot monster lady with giant claws stalking me. No. Get me out of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate it. I kudos to those of you brave enough, but
not for you.
No, thank you.
Not for you. You probably wouldn't like Kayak VR either, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Because you said you don't like water.
Well, admittedly, I've not done a lot of real life kayaking, but I don't think that's usually done underwater in the middle of the ocean.
Well, you're right. You are correct.
I mean, certainly I have no problem being on a boat. I can swim, and so that's not the problem. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, if you ever want to murder me and get away with it,
I can't say I've ever felt that way.
On the off chance that you do,
hang on, let me get a pen.
Get me playing one of those like Resident Evil VR games. And then just like sneak up behind me and like touch me on the back of the neck or something, and I will scream and my heart will stop.
You will have achieved your goal.
And this world will be rid of
Agent 47.
The tyranny of Phil Theobald once and for all.
One of my kids actually did that to me while I was playing Resident Evil 7 in VR.
When did the kid wake up in the hospital?
Yeah.
Because I don't think I could. I'd just start swinging.
Yeah. I had never jumped so high.
Oh my gosh. Don't do that.
I'm curious about I'm curious about Switchback VR. That's the Rush of Blood spiritual sequel by Supermassive, I think is the name of the company. And that comes out in March. And I'm curious about that one because, like I was just saying, like PSVR 2, when you're looking at people, it feels different than on the Quest when you're looking at humanoid characters.
Yeah.
And that one looks like it's going to be absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
To the point it uses the eye tracking so that if you blink, it changes the scene.
Oh, geez.
That you're looking at, where like you'll blink and people will be a lot closer to you.
Well, that's like there's a whole Doctor Who enemy
episode
that does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
No. I don't want.
Don't you want to experience that in real life?
Come on. No. Oh, thank you, please. That's fine.
Yeah, you're not into that.
Okay. I don't need weeping angels coming after me in my in the space between my eye blinks.
See, now you say that, but I also feel like if someone was to announce a VR, if you end up with a VR 2. Someone who was to announce what was that episode called?
Blink.
Blink.
Yeah, it was called Blink.
Someone announced something directly licensed.
Doctor Who.
That was that episode. You would buy it. You'd be the first to buy it. I don't know that you'd play it, but you'd be the first to buy it.
I probably would, and I would probably try it once out of obligation.
Yeah,
and then just be like, no, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Tom Baker didn't have to deal with this nonsense.
What I'm saying is they get your money.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
No doubt there.
They announced, we didn't talk about this news, but they also announced another Fisherman's Tale, which is the sequel to A Fisherman's Tale that I just finished.
Play that.
I just finished it on Quest. I didn't realize Another Fisherman's Tale was actually going to be a complete sequel. It's not just a PSVR 2 version of.
Is it called Another Fisherman's Tale?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was the title.
That is the title.
Or if you just couldn't remember the actual title.
No, that is the title.
Okay.
But I'm very excited about it because I really liked Fisherman's Tale when I played through that. So, but anyway, that's what I've been playing. So, Greg, what do you got?
Well, obviously, I too got a PSVR 2. The only thing that I played other than the stuff that you've been talking about is Thumper as well. I ended up buying the Thumper upgrade.
That's a good game.
I think it was it was cheap. And Thumper is one of my favorite games. So, and it was the same thing. I mean, there's nothing new about it. But it's nice to play it in a higher resolution.
Yeah.
So, it was great. It was awesome. But the other one that I played, which was my first, and really for the first couple of days, my only experience with the PlayStation VR, and the reason that I decided to get a VR 2 after all of the press had started, was Gran Turismo 7. So this was like getting a VR 2 was a bit of a gamble because, as I've mentioned before on the show, racing games in general, which are my favorite genre, boy, did they make me sick in VR. So what they did on PS, I should back that up with on PlayStation VR. I've never played one with a non PlayStation VR headset. So I was a little worried, but when the press was starting to come out, people were saying that they'd really done a great job with the motion sickness issues. And I will say that on PSVR 1, the race, which is so weird, the racing game that didn't make me feel sick was Wipeout, of all
Right.
things. But there's a good reason for that. And the thing that I'm super happy about in general with the VR2 and the software for the VR2, and this is probably just sort of general learnings that have happened over the last X number of years as far as creating virtual reality software, which is comfort seems to be the main focal point of absolutely everything I've played so far. And I don't mean physical comfort of the headset, but like as far as your view, your field of view, that sort of thing. Like going back to Call of the Mountain, one of the things that I noticed by default, and you can change this, Call of the Mountain has a ton of, like CJ said, a ton of options for you to mess with, even like how you're walking. Like by default, I think the walking is like if you're standing
Slow.
in place, you it's slow, but there's also one where you can make it so that you move your arms to walk.
Yeah.
That's how you move forward, which is a comfort thing. That's all it is.
Mhm.
It's to make your body feel more natural with that motion. And that game, the very beginning of it, you start in a canoe. You're like a prisoner. You're sitting in the back of a canoe going through this waterway, and it's really cool because like all the robot creatures are all around you. But one of the things that I noticed is while you're moving forward, you have a pretty wide field of view. But anytime you're not steering the canoe, anytime the canoe makes a lateral shift, like the nose of it moves in any way horizontally, I noticed that the FOV actually narrows, like noticeably narrows around you.
Yep.
And it's just to keep your eyes focused and not
That's
get
the
that.
vignette.
Yeah, it's the vignetting that was used that we all sort of noticed the first time, I think, in Resident Evil 7. So anyway, but it's just a lot of stuff like that happening. So yeah, so it was a bit of a gamble because I wanted to play Gran Turismo. So that was the first thing I did. And it was fantastic. Not a bit of motion sickness at all. But it was kind of along the same lines as Wipeout, where the only way I can describe it is that you're sitting in the car, obviously. And I feel like when they did a VR version when they did a VR mode for Gran Turismo Sport, again, this is probably more about learning the best ways to do this stuff. The camera was still attached to the car model. So when the car model moved, the camera shook. Right. Or another really big point is one of the tracks in the VR mode of Sport was this little oval track that has really banked corners. So like the corners are on a diagonal. So when you go into the corner in real life and in the game, the whole world tilts. Right. So you're kind of, even though you're turning, you're actually looking up to where you're going, which if you've spent any time in VR, that does a number on your head a lot of the times. So one of the very first race that I ran in GT7 was on Daytona, which is, a famously huge, high banked course. So the first time I pulled out onto the banking, the car shifted because it was on the banking, but my view stayed horizontal the whole time.
Yeah.
So it was almost like the camera was hanging from a pendulum in the car, rather than being attached to the car. And it makes all the difference in the world. And the more that I played it, the more I realized that, yeah, it's almost like it's either on a pendulum, or the other thing that I sort of liken it to is that the camera is actually connected relative to the road you're driving over. So if the car is shaking, like if you're driving over curbs or anything, the car model around you is shaking, but your view is smooth. Your view doesn't make any massive movements. And they're really dampening some things too. Like there was another track that I ran on where you would go through this really high speed area and there was a big curb on the inside, and to go really fast, you wanted to clip that curb. But in the game proper, the car would get up on two wheels, and it could be pretty drastic. but playing it in VR, they really dampened the motion a lot.
Hmm.
So that made a big difference. I think the resolution obviously makes a big difference as well. And the other thing was, and I'm gonna say it wrong. Is it foveated rendering?
Foveated rendering, yeah.
I said it right. The foveated rendering, which is that whole thing where they're only rendering sort of in high resolution what you're looking at directly, and your peripheral is in a lower resolution, so it's softer, basically. I think that's helping a lot too. I think that's along the same lines as the vignetting that you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I actually recorded the first couple of races that I did, and I put them up on my YouTube channel. And CJ, I'll give you the links to those for the show notes. And you can really see it. Like the other thing that talking about the foveated rendering, the way the HUD is in the game by default, they've moved it over to like the center of your car. And the car that I normally drive, I'm sitting on the left. So the center, the HUD, when you're watching that replay, you can notice that when I'm not looking at it, it's very low like it's very noticeable that it's a lower resolution, right? It's the easiest thing to notice. But then if I'm going through a right-hand turn and I look to find the apex, you can see it get much higher resolution as I'm looking towards it. So it's fantastic. I'm so happy. And of course, the game is fully playable in VR, which is also nice. And even comes down to the replays. Like you can watch your replays, and they've changed the replay mode this time, where you can't select which cars you're watching unless there's a sort of a hidden command for that. It's always focused on your car, but you're not in the car, and the camera never moves. Basically, what it's doing is it's teleporting you to different points on each track. So like you'll be at a point and you can fully turn around and move your head, but the cars will go by you. It's almost like you're a spectator, except you're out on the track. It's like you're a suicidal track marshal.
I know. There was one part of your video where the placement of you was like right by the side of the road, and I was like, this would be scary. Like you're seeing these cars approach you at a very high speed.
But it's still a comfort thing, right? Like so they go by, and then the screen will go black for a second, and then you'll be in the new area. So there's never any violent sweeping camera movement. The only movement is what you're doing with your head. So, and then the other thing they added to that game was like a showcase mode where you could like sort of float the camera around any vehicle in your collection and get a really close up look at the model and go inside and see the interiors as well. So all in all, yeah, it's just, I'm super happy with it. And yeah, it was a gamble. But it paid off. Although the next day, a bunch of the people who are in our racing league ended up getting the VR. And one of the guys that I raced with, Jesse, he got one. So we jumped online so he could test some. And for some reason, he decided every single track he wanted to play was one that had massive elevation changes.
Oh, shit.
And I will say that after like an hour of that, I wasn't sick. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good with this.
Yeah.
But overall it was great. So I could totally see that being the way that I play Gran Turismo 7 from now on. So yeah, super stuff.
Cool.
Super good stuff.
Are you using your wheel then?
Yes, I was sitting on the wheel. And it's funny because you were talking about a presence, and like on the wheel while you're driving, you have different controls, obviously. And especially to change like your brake balance and stuff like that, or what the HUD is showing. You click some buttons, and there were moments where I'm clicking buttons on my wheel, and I was looking down at the wheel in the game and wondering why my hand wasn't doing what I knew it was doing. So, but overall, yeah, I'm so happy with it. So great.
Yeah, I'm happy with the experience. Now, to me, I need to know what's next, especially from Sony. Like, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, just bring Half-Life Alyx out on PSVR 2. That'll be fine." It's like I don't really want to. Like, that'll be fine, sure, but I want to know what Sony themselves like. What first party are we going to see?
Yeah.
They need
Astrobot.
I hope.
I really hope we see an Astrobot game. But like, what else do they have? And they have Insomniac, who has VR.
There's nothing saying that they can't take some of their existing properties and create VR experiences like with
They
Horizon.
could. Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why they can't do that.
Right.
So
I just want to see more of that.
the other game that I did play too, outside of the VR stuff, is I finished Dead Space today.
Oh.
Actually, yeah,
All right.
yeah. I love that game so much. The Last of Us seen through the eyes of a runner. Nice. That was in the chat. Yeah. So about 17 hours. So when I said I didn't have time to watch the PlayStation thing, it's because I was doing stuff like playing Dead Space this week. But yeah, I finished it off. What a great remake! Like it feels like a modern game. It does not feel as old as it is, which I think is an absolute success. Because they did take a fair amount of stuff from Dead Space 2 as far as the interface goes and put it in here. I just couldn't stop playing it. I actually jumped into New Game Plus almost immediately, although I don't think I'm going to do that because I really want to get back to Metroid Prime and play through that as well. But it really holds up. It really holds up. The only thing I would say that makes it look old is the character models are a little bit stiff. They look like old video game characters. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, like I said, 17 hours, couldn't put it down. The lighting in it and the atmosphere was perfect in that game ages ago, and it still is. Yeah, boy, I don't know what else to say about it. Just heap praise on it. Like it's, I don't know if Phil's going to let us do remakes and everything on our top fives this year. Well, if CJ and I will be allowed to do it anyway.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. You're the one who was so cranky about rules before.
Is it a game that came out this year?
Yeah, that's the only thing that matters.
Was it released this year? Was this remake released this year?
I would say right now it's definitely in the running for my top
there you
five.
go.
Yeah.
It just holds up so well.
This year is going to be freaking crazy we're only in February and we've already got some really great stuff. It's just yeah.
So now on to Metroid Prime. I want to get back into that and finish that up, and then back to Hi-Fi Rush because I haven't. I put that down too. So yeah, that's it though. That's what I've been playing.
Nice.
Alrighty, I guess that means it's time for tweets.
I'm gonna tweet for you, a tweet for me. Come on and join in the tweet family. We're gonna have a good time. We're grooving tonight. We're gonna sing a song and then we're feeling all right. So come on, everybody, enjoy the show. We're gonna tweet. Then it's time to go.
All right then.
There you go.
Let's do this.
You know how long I practiced that?
How long?
Never.
Not at one. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Would it surprise you to learn that was made up on the fly?
Nope.
Let's do this one.
It sounded like it was made up on the fly.
Cracker alias John722, who says, "What's a game that is broadly considered bad but you really like?"
Oh, most games I like.
I would say, yeah, maybe for me as well.
Too Human.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Blue Dragon.
Donkey Kong 64, right, CJ?
Dragon. Donkey Kong 64.
Donkey Kong 64. I don't think Donkey Kong 64 is universally considered or
Yeah,
bad.
it is.
Is it?
Oh,
No.
Yeah, it is.
No. Really?
Yeah, it is.
Bad? Like
Oh,
actively
yeah.
bad?
Yes.
If not
It's a bad
universal,
game.
overwhelmingly
Oh.
negative.
Okay. Yeah. Friday the 13th.
Yeah. It's
I
another
love
good one.
that game. Yeah.
I mean, I like the Musu games. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't like those. I liked that Godzilla game on PS4. I was just talking about the Valis games.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know,
Stunt Race FX.
Oh
For me.
God, CJ.
oh really?
I really liked. I
I could
finished
not
that
get
game
into
with
that
all
race back in the day.
golds.
Thank goodness.
I know, right?
I'm a big fan of Batman Returns on the Genesis, and it's bad. I can't even admit it's bad, but I'm a big fan of it.
Like not the Sega CD one with the driving stages, but like the actual like side scrolling one.
Cartridge version.
Yeah, I did not like that one either.
No, it wasn't good.
Uh,
Like I said, I freely admit that.
Oh.
But I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I see.
There's
It's
some
okay to
people who
like
like the
bad
Super
games.
Nintendo Aladdin.
What's that? Well,
There's some people who like the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin.
yeah, that's because that's the good one.
Nah, you're
Now
wrong
some people
about
like the
that.
Genesis one,
Oh, the good one.
which looks great, but that's about all it has going for it. It's okay to like bad games.
I know, like
It
Batman
is
Returns.
absolutely okay to like
Absolutely.
bad games. Yeah,
Enjoy your bad games.
exactly. You can enjoy a 7 out of 10 or a 2 out of 10. It's fine.
Exactly.
All right. Let's do this one from listener Nick, who sent us a toot.
Oh,
I didn't hear that in the song. I didn't hear that in all 15 minutes of the song.
well,
kidding.
toot, 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 and get ready to go. We got a
The
sweet
most
stinky
untalked
toot.
about feature of having GBA games added to Switch Online is online multiplayer. So many GBA games support up to 4 players, but usually needed a lot of games / hardware to play. Any multiplayer GBA games you hope to see added, drip fed, into the service?
I don't remember playing a lot of multiplayer GBA games.
They did I think in Choo Choo Rocket for GBA, they did a 4-player mode. There's a 4-player mode in that if I remember correctly, we played it a couple of times for review, and that was really fun.
I remember hooking up a bunch of Game Boy Advances to a GameCube to play Zelda or to Crystal Chronicles or that Final Fantasy game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Crystal Chronicles.
I mean, I remember
Pac-Man
games that.
versus.
Yeah, I never played Pac-Man versus.
Pac-Man versus.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, there was
good.
there was a lot of setup, but that was a legit fun game.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
But there was a Game Boy version of Four Swords.
Oh,
What's
really?
I've forgotten.
Yeah,
Oh.
right. It was like a link. It was like a Link to the Past and Four Swords
right. Yeah.
Okay.
on one
okay.
cartridge.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
actually on the service we're talking about.
Wait, is it actually?
I don't know.
It's not.
It might be. No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's not.
And that
But
one,
anyway, yeah, that one.
That's the one.
Zelda Four Swords.
But I think Mario Kart supports it.
Oh,
I don't
almost
think I
definitely.
ever played Mario Kart with
I-
the link cable.
Did not seriously play Game Boy Advance Mario Kart. I played it a little bit, but it didn't do much for me.
Yeah. Same here.
I
yeah.
played it solo. Absolutely. I didn't play much multiplayer. I played that Konami one too.
Konami Crazy Racers.
Konami Crazy Racers.
Crazy
yeah.
Racers.
was better than Mario Kart Super Circuit.
It was very good. It is a very good game.
Yeah.
Very good kart racing game.
Yeah, what are the other GBA multiplayer games?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I never
I
played
really
them.
didn't play many of them.
Yeah.
I never used that link cable at all.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, let's do this one from listener James Farley, who says, simple question. If PSVR 2 doesn't take off, will this be Sony's last roll of the VR dice?
I honestly was surprised when they decided to do a second one.
Yeah.
uh,
I don't think it'll be the last roll, no.
you don't?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if this was the last one, but hopefully it does well.
I hope it does well too. They've got it right this time. One cable.
Yeah, they don't have it that
into
right.
the-
There's no Astrobot.
All right, no Astrobot. I agree with that as a misstep that they did not do that for launch. That
Yeah.
they did not somehow make something Astrobot happen.
It's so weird that they
Launch.
didn't.
They had to have known that people thought that was the killer app for PSVR 1, right?
Right?
I
don't
mean,
know.
I guess they did just kill Japan Studio and
Uh,
yeah, anyway. I think they'll do another one.
But wasn't
after
that
this.
Asobo? Didn't Asobo make that game?
Asobi? Yeah, Team Asobi.
I thought it was. I thought it was Asobo.
Asobo is the French studio.
I know
did
that.
Plague
That's
Tale.
who I'm talking about. I
No,
thought
it's
that
it's Team
it was
Asobi.
Asobi. Okay.
Asobi.
Yeah.
Different companies.
Now I've learned something.
Now you know. All right,
Yeah.
Hackerilius Namava says, pretending that Nintendo entered the VR space, Labo doesn't count. What games would you love to see get a VR installment? F-Zero VR, Metroid Prime VR, Mario VR in the vein of Astrobot?
I think Metroid Prime VR would be vomit inducing.
It could be. It could be.
Captain Toad would be a great VR
Captain
game.
Toad.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely, Captain Toad.
that would totally work.
Pushmo.
Pushmo.
Give me a
Oh.
Pushmo game in VR. I would be all about that.
Okay,
Urban Champion.
VR
Urban
champion.
as
Scoop
Joey
Joey.
would say.
Why not?
It's
Why
been too
not?
long. It's been too long since the Urban Champion has visited us.
The
Yeah.
first person take on it.
They could
Yeah.
do a really good Star Fox in VR.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
absolutely.
Neither of you played that game, Yuki, have you? Yuki is on MetaQuest and
No.
on PSVR 1, where you what is that game? There's another game coming out. Maybe it got announced for PSVR 2, where you basically are like playing with where your hand is the ship, or you're playing with a toy and you're holding the toy and whatnot, and it's like a shooter.
the Ubisoft game.
And you're swooping it around.
You're swooping it around. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know if it's a Ubisoft game.
The one
But,
are you talking about the one where you connected the ship to your controller?
No,
Oh, okay.
That's Starlink.
that's
Starlink is what
Starlink.
I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about Yuki, and then there's a game that just got announced that's very similar, and I can't remember the name of that one either. But you basically, it's like you're playing with toys, but the environment is, you have to. It's a sort of a bullet hell. Yuki, anyway, is sort of a bullet hell shooter where you're moving around in 3D space, which is actually makes it a little bit easier to control a bullet hell that way, I will say.
Okay.
And there's a mini game actually in the lab for Steam, if you ever played that, that it has is the same concept where you're controlling a ship around. I'd love to see a Star Fox where it was where you could actually like control the ship with your hand.
Would it fire when you go pew pew pew?
I would hope so.
Because then, yeah.
Would
Let's do it.
absolutely hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, Astrobot uses the microphone on the PSVR 1 in some unique ways, right? Really only blowing, I guess. But if Nintendo did VR, I imagine they would analyze your voice, and when you're saying pew pew, they would allow you to shoot when you said that. So yeah,
Perfect.
I'd love to see Nintendo try VR again. I think they would do some really interesting stuff with it that we probably haven't seen from other companies, just because of how long it's taken to get here with like vignette stuff and comfort settings, etc. Like,
Right.
to me, like the control scheme of a VR game or the interface of a VR game is still on the sort of early days side of things.
Yeah.
I'd love to see them do it.
Yeah.
They probably won't, but I'd love to see it. All right. Let's do this one. What time is it? Oh, let's wrap up with this one from listener Jason, who says, with the Metroid Prime remaster being a huge success, what other game do you feel is way overdue for an HD makeover?
Dead Space.
Dead Space 2. Yeah.
The Kid Icarus 3DS game.
Icarus. That's
I
rumored that's
I
going
would
to happen.
love to see that game come to the Switch.
Yeah. Oh,
because
absolutely.
I never played it, and I will never play it on 3DS. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
So, yeah, I would love to see that.
That's
Yeah.
already rumored to be.
Is it?
I would love to see it.
I'd love to see it too. I'm going to say Final Fantasy VI. I'd love to see a
Hmm.
not so. Let
Not
me
the Pixel
qualify this.
remaster.
Not the Pixel remaster.
Yeah.
Not Final Fantasy VII remake.
You mean like the
something
Octopath Traveler style?
in between that. Yeah, Octopath Traveler
Oh,
style,
God, I'd love to
or
see that so much.
Trials of Mana style, where it's
Mm.
like just upgraded enough. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Somebody in the chat said Rogue Squadron. I think that would be fantastic.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
the Rogue Squadron games were so good. It'd be great
Yep.
to have those in. Actually, those might be interesting VR games too. I would also love to see Sega do more stuff like they did with Daytona. I'd love to see Sega Rally or Super GT or Scud Race or
Yeah.
any of those old arcade games get an up-res and come out on current consoles.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same thing with Namco and Ridge Racer. Why not?
Yeah, why has Namco not done that?
Yeah.
Why not?
Just going back to giant robots from earlier in the show. Let's get Robot Alchemic Drive.
That would be a good VR
Yes.
game too.
Oh,
That would be a really good VR game.
That'd be
Yes, it
really neat in
would.
VR.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know what game I'd like to see come back
What's
was 3D Dot Game Heroes.
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
Remember that
That's a
one?
good one.
I could never. I tried to
PS3.
get into that, and I sort of
Oh, I got a kick
lost
out of that
interest.
one.
Yeah, it was a
I-
cool idea.
Was that a game that people didn't like? Is this a
I
bad
think
game that Phil
some
liked?
people
so.
loved it. I think some people really loved
Okay.
it. But
Yeah.
I played it. I just found it. I found it got boring after a while.
Okay.
So
I see.
There we go.
Well, I think that's a show.
Oh,
I think that's
all
it.
right.
Alrighty then. That's a show for this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you have a question for us or would like to comment on something you heard, you can direct that to @P1 Podcast on the Twitter or @P1 Podcast @mastodon.social on the Mastodons. Or if you prefer going to an internet website, we got one of those too. It's at playeronepodcast.com, and there you'll find blog entries about Sega CD stuff from Mr. Greg Stewart. You'll also find Generation 16 episodes as they happen.
they're happening.
They are happening. And you'll find show notes and links to all the things we talked about on the show, as well as a link to our Discord server where you can discuss this episode with us and our other listeners.
If you would like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting playeronepodcast.com or by loading up your favorite podcast listening app. We're also on Stitcher Radio or on Spotify. You can like us on Facebook. You can watch video archives of our show on the youtubes.com/P1 Podcast. Or you can watch us live most weeks on the YouTubes, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Twitch.televisions, all over the darn place. Just follow our Twitter account, which is @P1 Podcast, or I guess our Mastodon as well, which is
At P1 Podcast at mastodon.social.
whatever the format is for that. You'll find it. To find out when we do our next live show, typically it is 5:30 on Sunday nights, Pacific time. So join us, won't you? And I'll tell you what, if you like what you've heard, and how could you, head over to patreon.com/P1 Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way, because I got to get a PSVR 2 for the hopefully inevitable Astrobot game. So CJ will float me some of the money for that, right, CJ? Wink.
We'll think about that. Sure.
That's a no. That's a no. But you know what? Your Patreon funds do help support our show, keep us going and streaming and all that stuff. So we definitely appreciate it. And I'll tell you what, if you are a Patreon supporter of the $5 tier,
Cheap.
there it is, you gain access to a special weekly bonus episode that we record right after this, where we play games crack-wise, having fun, doing all the stuff we can't do on the regular show. CJ, do we have a game for this week?
We do have a game for this week. In fact,
Okay.
It is a guess the name of the game based on the music threequel from Greg's friend Mike.
I'm going to be terrible at this.
We're all going to be terrible at it.
We're all going to
Okay.
be terrible at it.
Okay, well,
So
as long as we're all terrible together, I guess that's the important part.
that is the important part.
Okay,
Yeah.
so join us for that. That
Sounds
should
like
be fun. And I'll tell you what, if you have a couple bucks left over, why don't you go visit patreon.com/Greg Seward to help support Greg's outstanding, and it is outstanding, web series about North America's favorite runner-up, the Sega Genesis.
Thank you, Phil. And if you are a supporter of the $5 variety,
Also cheap.
you get access to the Weekly Commute, which is a weekly vlog series that I do talking about the current status of an episode and actually any videos I'm working on, what goes into making them, any cool stuff that I'm working on in the future, any kind of research, and just all kinds of cool stuff. And lately what I've been doing is actually going back and rereading some of my old reviews from my gaming age days. So we're talking mid-90s. This is
Ooh.
based kind of on a thing that CJ and I tried once called the re-review, where we went back. The idea was to go back and replay some of the games we reviewed at EGM. And
I
talk
think we
about
did
the
it
reviews.
twice.
We might have
We
done
did
it
it at
twice.
least
It's
twice.
Star Fox Adventures.
Yeah,
And
we
maybe
did
one
Animal
other one.
Crossing.
Did we
as
do
well.
Animal Crossing? There you go. So anyway, that's been kind of fun. It's been interesting to see what 21-year-old Greg was writing about way back when, about N64 games and stuff like that. So anyway, please consider supporting the show.
There you go. Is that it?
I think that's it.
That's it.
CJ,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh my gosh. CJ is for you listening at home.
CJ 's showing
CJ's
some merch.
waggling in front of the camera. He's got the humanity dog.
Yeah,
Is that a 3D printed?
it is. Yes.
Is this not something you can purchase? Is this something that
not,
you just
not something that you can purchase? No.
Oh, okay. That's cute.
I know, right?
Does that dog have a canon name?
No.
Okay. It's just whatever your
Not-
little heart
not yet.
desires.
Yes.
It's the humanity dog. That's very
right.
cute though.
Well, thank
I
you.
like it.
I didn't do it.
Well,
Somebody else did.
I figured someone with
Yeah.
talent for creating 3D
You are
sculptures would do
absolutely.
that.
You're absolutely right.
Someone who
Not
knows how
me.
to operate a 3D printer, which I'm assuming you do not.
I do not at
No,
all.
neither do I. Don't feel bad.
Okay.
Don't feel bad. Gregory, do
Yo,
you have any 3D printed things you can waggle in front of the camera right now?
I do not.
Oh, then get out.
Okay.
Okay. But thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Phil.
Oh, always a delight. And thank you. Yes, you are wonderful, wonderful listeners. Every single one of you. Remember, as always, take care of yourself, your loved one, your family, your friends. Do what you got to do to be safe in this crazy world. And please, we hope to see you next week. Goodbye, dear friends.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.